find out why, why. I still don't know what it is, but I'm gonna call my ISP again. Data, what do you think? Can you hear me okay now?
I can hear you. Can the chat hear us?
I think they can hear us. I think they can. I think they can.
Let's
I think
see.
they can.
Sora Luna says buffering badly for her, so she might be lurking for the start. Patrick Ripley says refugee from the kill stream. Corrine is just a bit too much. Ripley says.
Oh, I think we're finally coming through just right. I don't have any more spinning. We look to be good. Unfortunately, what did I do here? I switched data.
Barely can hear. Pat says Patrice says that she barely can hear Numb.
Okay.
They can barely hear.
Is that
okay?
Better? Let me move forward and stop staring at the wrong screen.
How are those levels? Are those levels level?
The levels are bopping and the fish aren't doing anything.
The levers are bopping and we can't stop. And
so
okay, so
think
buttons.
It's moving. I just can't see the.
I think I think therefore I am.
I think therefore it's broken. Something like that. I think.
Broken skull.
I'm redlined according to YouTube. I don't know what's going on. I'm assuming ISP is triggered or something.
The Angry Amish Hitman shows. Hello, Hitman.
So, Dad and I were trying to debate what to talk about tonight. Should we go with the one we were just talking about, or should we leave it up to the audience? Because this one, I'm interested. I'm always interested. Something new. I'm interested. What do you think?
Well,
what should we do?
Why don't you give them the options?
Okay.
But it seems to me you did a lot of work on the one topic, so you should at least point that out.
I was looking for more, but I can't find some of the stuff I was looking for that I saw.
What was the topic again? Technology, right?
We have technology and some weird, quirky advances that we've sort of covered, but I found some of the articles for them to talk about. So technology is one. Number two is Dr. Frank E. Strange's. Is that what this is? The Valiant Thor. Not what you guys think it is. So that's number two. It is a Stranger at the Pentagon, the story of Valiant Thor. And I am still buffering bad. It is not a lion this time. Let me know, chat. An echo, you say?
I'm dropping my volume level to hopefully kill the
I can do
echo. Is that better? Test.
Oh, that's better.
1, 2, 3.
Right now, YouTube's just not getting me. I'm all red on YouTube. Everything else is green across the board. But number two is Stranger at the Pentagon, the story of the Valiant Thor. Number three was a part 2 segment of QAnon, which is not prepped.
Oh, so yeah, the QAnon.
Off the cuff. Right. So, 1 is technology. 2 is the Thor you don't know. 3 is part 2 QAnon. What would the chat like to do today, if they can even hear me?
1, 2, or 3. 1 would be QAnon. 2 would be technology that you may not know. And 3 is Valiant Thor. Put in your votes now.
If you're unsure, do a 3-count push-up.
Chat isn't moving.
But they don't know how to do push-ups? Is that what? Is that what's going on?
Oh, we got 3 from the angry Amish hitman.
Ooh, we got a return of QAnon. Suggested return of QAnon. I'm going to do an audio check here and see how the stream sounds and see if everything's coming through. Because my monitor device says we're going through okay. My broadcast window here says we are not going through okay.
Damn broads.
It's a YouTube window. I can only blame those at which are incorporated. Well, YouTube's heavily incorporated into my YouTube window. I blame them. I have very little control over this window.
We still have 3 from the angry Amish hitman. And we're waiting for Patrice or Sora to vote.
Apparently, our signal's going out good. I think YouTube's lying to me.
Well, that wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be the first time. Do you know they've been lying to me for like 5-6 days now on my subscriber count?
I mean, okay, their last announcement, they're going to tell us what real news is, and they're going to be giving millions of dollars away to news companies that have millions of dollars, as opposed to supporting some of their actual content creators that are hurting because of their stupid ad apocalypse that they've self-imposed upon themselves. And yeah, where are they coming up with all this cash if they haven't gotten the damn ads? And I think it's all bullshit. I mean, I found out recently that even if you're not monetized, if you're getting tons of traffic, they'll throw ads on anyways, and they'll pay themselves.
Yeah, I did. By the way, chat, if you didn't just hear me, this is for if you want to hear us talk about the weird things that YouTube does, which could be a conspiracy of themselves, couldn't they?
Are you asking me? Because I just took a mouthful of.
Okay, so honestly, YouTube has a shady side.
We got another vote
them.
for 3.
Another vote for 3.
We got another vote for 3.
So we got 2 votes for 3. I think we're gonna have to talk about QAnon. We'll see what happens here.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do you want to attempt to actually play the plan to save the world?
That might get us booted, especially with the new programming that's coming out with YouTube.
What if we stopped at every? What if we stopped and talked about it every few minutes?
Did you hear about the new implementations they're going to be making? It's not going to matter if you play a couple of seconds or the whole amount of footage soon.
Okay.
There's going to be a separate bar where if YouTube finds that your video is similar to others, it can be removed.
Just another reason to leave friggin' YouTube.
Well, it's another reason why the goal or the direction of the shows that I do and that you inherently do with me,
the YouTube,
I try to show
designing skulls on Second Life. You could probably make more money than what you make on YouTube.
Yeah, I absolutely could. YouTube is not profitable for Google. It's sort of like putting a mini Kmart inside of a Sears. And
we talked, you know, Num and I talked about that. And think about it this way, Patrice. Google owns YouTube, okay? And YouTube provides the content to Google. Google provides the traffic to YouTube, but it also, because YouTube provides content, it actually keeps the traffic within Google's servers. Now, if you have a company called Alphabet, and Alphabet owns Google, and Alphabet owns YouTube, whatever YouTube loses is a tax write-off, and whatever Google makes is profit. So Alphabet can assign the loss from YouTube to the profit of Google, and in actuality, they're not losing any money. I mean, think of it this way: how could money and pay the CEO, you know, $10-15 million a year in salary? So, you know, they're far from closing their doors. Let's say it that way.
Again,
but okay, you were saying
I can see Numb working with mesh. What mesh?
Yeah, I could see Numb working with mesh. I could see him making a lot of shit there and selling it. I was trying to tell him that there's a avatar that you could buy that's a skull and a skeleton, and what I was telling Numb was he could climb into that avatar, he could video himself talking and actually being animated while talking, and use it for YouTube streams as opposed to him just being static there. And he could even run media behind him off of a board, so it could be like a real news center. You know, he could be sitting at a desk. Now look at what Amish says.
What do we got here? Right on.
See what he said? He said right on. I mean, you could do that instead of having to like try to actually animate. It would be like a shortcut by filming you talking with your head moving. It would be like an automatic done deal.
I've looked at it in several different programs. A couple of them require specific cameras. A couple of them require specific amounts of money.
No. What I'm trying to tell you is in Second Life. What I'm saying is, in Second Life, you can do it and use a screen capture. In other words, you can make all the layers in Second Life and literally capture it on one video without any hassle, without any post-production.
And Amish Hitman wants to run around in the back room while I'm recording a film.
He'll be the behind. He'll do the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The making of the skull, the NumbedSkull report.
All right, so folks, we got 2 votes for number 3, which is going to be talking about QAnon next, or number 4, which is we could discuss some things about YouTube that is odd.
Well, I mean, they already picked. Whatever. So I guess QAnon it is.
Yeah, I guess we're going to talk about QAnon. Data, you have the floor.
Okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to talk about it in a way to kind of explain it to you, Numb, because I don't think you still grasp the realization. Second, let's see, Angry Amish Hitman. Second Life is free. I've never put a cent into it. Second Life, and back in 2012, I think it was, I made $800 a year by going to clubs. He was going to clubs and like doing hosting, and were you DJing too? And you could actually make cash in the program. Anyways, back to QAnon. You were under the impression that it was like a hit and miss type of situation, and it wasn't as big as it actually is. And then I pasted you. He was no hosting. It was just in contests. So he actually made $800 just winning in contests. Anyways, you were under the assumption that it was like a hit and miss type of situation, and it was a lot smaller than it actually is. But it's a lot bigger than you were thinking it was, and it's growing substantially. I mean, at this point, there are billboards with a big Q on it, putting it out there. There are people bugging every single news reporter in the White House to ask Sanders the question, what is it about QAnon, and is the president involved, or does he know about QAnon? Because even recently, there have been things that kind of like work off each other. In other words, in QAnon posts, he never says such and such is. In other words, Hillary Rodham Clinton is HRC in his posts. Okay, and over the year, he's come up with a lot more of these different. The senator from Arizona that tried to become president. What's his name? The one with Palin as his running mate.
Oh, I'm not good with names of people who lost.
Because the silver-haired guy. Huh?
I'm not good with names of people who lost.
Okay, he's the senator from Arizona. He was a straight shooter, or at least he used to be. He was also a Vietnam vet that was a POW. He was the one that Trump said he likes heroes that weren't captured.
Oh. Damn, why don't I know his name? I know who you're talking about now. Why don't I know his name?
Okay, well, it's funny. It's McCain. It's funny. It's funny. We all don't know his name, John McCain, because in the Q posts, his name is the person we don't name. In other words, like what's his name from that. Anyways,
Harry Potter.
He's the person. McCain is the person we don't name, and in one of Trump's speeches, he said the same thing, the person we don't name. So it's like there's stuff that he says, then Trump will say. There was something just recently also. Somebody was wearing a QAnon t-shirt, and Trump pointed him out to come up, and Trump signed his MAGA hat. There's stuff happening that seems to tie Q more and more in with Trump. Now, if you don't know what Q is, QAnon is an anonymous posting that started on 4chan and is now on 8chan. And basically he posts at some point. He hasn't posted for, let's say, 4 weeks, but most of the time, every day, there's multiple posts. And exactly, Sora. In other words, McCain is like Voldemort. And in these posts, he's not allowed to tell, secrets. He's not, and it seems like he's behind the scenes in either intelligence or in signal or somewhere in the know. But he does ask questions, and his questions are very pointed. So, the stuff that happened in the news. Well, here, perfect example. Who would have guessed that Trump would have brought to Korea, the Korean Peninsula? Nobody. Here is something where even Bush pointed the North Koreans out as the axis of evil. Obama, 8 years, couldn't do anything, couldn't move anything. Now, all of a sudden, Trump walks in after calling him Rocket Man a few times, and now he's sitting down with him, and literally not only sitting down with him, but the guy is jumping at the chance to unarm his nuclear arsenal. Well, QAnon basically stated that the North Korean peninsula was under the control of the evil clowns. The evil clowns is a code word for the bad cabal of the CIA, the bad section of the CIA that runs the drugs, the CIA that pays the terrorists, the CIA that did the first bombing of the World Trade Center, the black hats of the shadow government. He said basically that we were able to kick them out of North Korea, and once we were able to kick them out of North Korea, Kim Jong-un came running. I mean, it was almost as if he was being held hostage. He was a puppet. Maybe he was even forced to do what he was doing. Who the hell knows? So this has been going on over hundreds and hundreds of posts. You know, right. Helicopter crashes.
Here's things that kind of bother me. Now, if it's someone who's close, wouldn't you assume, maybe it's me, maybe it's the way I think, but I would assume if there's knowledge of something like that, wouldn't somebody be watching for that? So if somebody in the government understood that Q existed...
He's actually said that too. In other words, he knows that the bad guys are seeing his posts too. So sometimes he has to lead them astray. Sometimes he has to say things that lead them in one direction. And then and it's also strange too, because a lot of his posts are like talking directly to like people in the fight. In other words, like, it's a go, you know, the plan is 15 hours out, you know, all different. They're like coded messages to others in his ilk.
And
the other thing too is now this video, the plan to save the earth, the beginning of the video starts out with, you know, obviously, what if hunger, what if starvation, what if poverty, what if medical issues, what if all this was brought to us by the elitists? And what if the few good people that were in the position to do something in the military, what if they had two choices, either to have a coup in the United States and overthrow, let's say, Hillary Clinton if she won, or protect and support an outsider coming in to the White House? So in other words, the QAnon posts allude to the possibility of the military not only making sure that the vote wasn't flipped, but coming to Trump early on saying, listen, this is our plan, this is what we have to do, and are you for it? You know, right. Basically.
Maybe I've asked this before, but how long has QAnon been posting for?
I think a little over a year.
So only since Trump has been in office?
Yes.
Okay. Now, again, I think of this, so somebody who's paid to do this obviously should have thought of this already. But you take the time period and the postings, and this person, after a year, either is being watched or is watching himself.
But that doesn't explain, like, the tie-ins to Trump's tweets. In other words, he'll say something, and then 15 minutes later, Trump will say almost the exact same thing. He has picture of a person sitting in a chair on Air Force One, like personal pictures. He has, I mean, it seems like he's on the inside. And again, like I said, he makes no qualms about the evil people knowing, following him too. So sometimes he has to, do a little a little soft shoe. Let's see. Patrice says QAnon are the people that figured out what Covfefe was and took the job. The word was a 157 level Cicadia 3301 style puzzle that was a recruitment effort for the NSA. That is not a joke. I went to Fort Meade for the first face-to-face interview. Interesting.
Don't get me wrong. Conspiracy theories, I love trying to indulge in them, but I have
Patrice says it's true. Covfefe wasn't him misspelling coffee. It was a NSA code to be broken.
In which case do I have to assign numerical values to the letters? In which case we'll start C as 3 and O as 15.
Don't you start now, and it's already been taken care of. So,
all right.
So, I mean,
no decoding today. Damn.
Okay, so if it's real, it's an interesting thing, and it's also tapping into conspiracies. It's also a hell of a lot of people hope. If it's
code breakers, I could believe that.
If it's a counter intelligence thing, then it's putting all these people into a box, and when it blows up, it is going to really hurt a lot of people. It is going to really shatter a dream. So there's that.
This is the United States. I think dreams are just being shattered for the sake of shattering dreams right now. And I'm grateful
what
for
was
those
it?
shattered
George Carlin said it best. George Carlin said it best. It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. So what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think... Well, it's
Therefore,
weird. All right, so I'm trying to visualize. This is me. This is me running my process of thinking against QAnon.
You still haven't even gone. I mean, what? How many posts have you actually looked at?
I think like a little over a dozen.
Right. Okay. So I mean, if you don't, I mean, you've got to really delve a little deeper than that, because I mean, if we're looking at 500 plus posts, it's kind of hard to get a lay of the land with just a dozen. But I mean, this also ties in with a lot of the news stuff, like the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement was a distraction from the actual pedophiles right now. In other words, there are supposedly 33 or 35,000 sealed indictments worldwide going after all these damn Satanists that have been kidnapping children and drinking their blood.
Now, I caught on to the sealed indictments and all of that stuff, which, again, you know me. When there's something in there that adds a bit of disbelief, I have to err on the side of disbelief until something brings me back to valid.
Isn't it strange that it would take a Q post to bring that to your attention, yet we haven't heard a thing about it from the mainstream media?
It is. It's very weird that when you search for Q, you find it. However,
no, I'm talking about.
Let's look at this from a semi-objective point of view, Data. Let's say I'm back to day one.
I'm not talking about Q. I'm talking about the indictments.
Yeah. I mean, let's say I'm back to day one, and you're telling me that this guy Q is talking about 35,000 sealed indictments. Well, okay. One, having had a sealed indictment against me, or what was it? I forget exactly what it was called. It was sealed charges. Right now my mind isn't with that, but they're not going to know who and where and what until after all of them are executed. And for a number that large, they're going to be executed at a broad range. And unless it's noted, unless the details are given to the news for them to know, like right after it happened, by the way, we just successfully caught 3,500 people because of our sealed indictments. Until then, the news isn't going to pick it up because you don't know about sealed indictments.
Right, but I mean, the sheer number is news in itself. I don't think there's ever been a point in the history of America where there have been. We're talking about a large stadium size amount of people that are supposedly in trouble.
Okay, let me add some relativism to that, which is how I try to do everything. Okay, I had a sealed indictment. I was arrested on it during a long course of the several counties near where I live doing a series of drug busts. There was a few thousand people in the neighboring 7 counties who were arrested, and most of them charged and sentenced for some sort of drug behavior for a huge operation they were doing. And if I try to take that to scale, let's say for 7 counties, like let's say 1,000 people. We'll round it down. It was definitely more than that, but let's say 1,000 people. And we'll multiply that by 2 per state. So let's say 2,000 people per state. And 50 states, that's 100,000 people that could at one time have charges against them for something related to something. That's not a substantial claim to say that there's 35,000. That's nothing substantial at all. To narrow them down to a specific claim, that starts to be substantial. So if you start saying that, okay, these 35,000 sealed indictments are all pedophiles, well, that's roughly, in a quick mathematic estimate that means nothing, a third of what I can think could be being charged right now on some sort of conviction. And of course, my numbers are way off, so it's probably a lot less than a third. So I'm just trying to balance out. Like, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of shit that happens that you don't think of on a daily basis. I could offset 35,000 indictments to just somebody doing some statistical math and finding out what's going on, or working in the Justice Department and asking for a requisition of the numbers of the cases going against certain types of people. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to rationalize it. How would someone be able to know that? Well,
I hear what you're saying, but I'm kind of shocked that all these little notable tidbits aren't being even announced, even talked about on the mainstream news.
Okay, but the mainstream news isn't supposed to announce sealed indictments. Sealed indictments are orders signed by judges, carried out by officers, unbeknownst to other parties until they're carried out. So releasing that kind of information is technically a violation of the law. And
we lost you for a second.
Sorry. I said releasing that kind of information is technically a violation of the law.
Okay.
Because a sealed indictment is specifically to build charges, I believe. It's so that you can work on getting the best case against somebody possible without it being interfered with.
Okay.
I believe.
I mean,
I believe that's what I had against me was a sealed indictment.
That's just one aspect of it. YouTube keeps YouTube keep getting cut off once in a while. Okay, so
I
both
apologize for that, folks. I really do think it's my ISP because I keep complaining about it and they keep telling me they already sent the service tech. There's nothing wrong. They're not reading anything.
Right. So let's see. I mean, other than the indictments, there's other things. There's a lot of people at the DOJ, a lot of people at FBI are stepping down. They're quitting. There's a lot of people that are not going to get reelected. They're stepping out of politics. Again, this may be normal, but it just, when it's mentioned in Q about it, he said there that basically the heads are starting to roll. That the arrests will be soon. Let's see. The Amish hitman says the NSA is listening. That's why they're cutting us off and on.
Oh, it must be. I didn't even think of that, guys. Sorry. Well, we'll try not to divulge too many secrets for you guys. Now, here's a curious question. What if, and we're thinking that Q is working on Trump's side. What if Q is working against Trump? What if the point is the opposite of what everybody thinks it is?
Right. In other words, build them up to tear them down.
What if it's to cut enough holes in the system to allow people to go, oh, okay, well, they're about to charge a whole bunch of indictments. I need to straighten my shit out. What if it's not so much, trying to let the public know, but warnings for other people that things are about to happen that they're not ready for? Or, for instance, did we all see that what's his Stark, the funny S name that was in council? Did you not catch almost every camera angle of him had a smirk on his face?
Yes. It was a smirk. There was affect that he was saying. I mean, it was.
Let's apply that amount of power to Q. Wouldn't he then think, okay, I'm okay. I have nothing to worry about. I'm in the perfect spot. Nobody's gonna catch me doing what I'm doing because I'm doing it so well.
Like I said, it could be counterintelligence. It could be a way of collecting data on every single person that is a Trump believer.
Some stuff just seems too coincidental.
I mean,
right.
In the grand scheme of things, I don't, Trump is the president of the United States, and I'm going to give him the respect deserved of the president of the United States. Before he was the president of the United States, I wasn't a typical Trump fan. If anything, I saw him as a rich, spoiled, kid who never got his hands dirty and basically would do anything to anyone just to win.
Yeah.
And I could point out a few nasty things that he's done. And yeah. So when people talk about, Trump and his four-dimensional chess, I personally think that he could barely play checkers. But then again, we've been pumped full of this Trump hate. And even if you're not a Hillary, a Kool-Aid drinker, maybe some of that Trump hate has trickled in, so here I am, a Democrat, defending Trump when all the insanity is being pointed his way about him being this, that, and the other thing. But yeah, he's the president of the United States, and he deserves the respect of that office. Period. You know, that's the way this country works. If you don't like it, vote them out next time.
Yeah, that is exactly how it works. And there's so much more to go into there. I am going to have to check out an actual QAnon post. Maybe have you find me a link and I'll log in with one of my profiles.
There isn't posts. There's actual websites that not only have like the most recent posts, but they tie, you know, recent posts to past posts to you know, that are all related in some way, you know. So it's a very deep, multi-layered subject. You know, when Trump signed into law or signed an executive order saying that in a situation where you have a criminal conspiracy, the government could seize all assets of that conspiracy, or I think it was for slave trafficking, people, you know, what do you call trafficking? People trafficking? What's the word? Sex trafficking, something like that. So right after he did that, it was like right after he did that, Q posts like, look at this, the Rothschilds are selling a house they had in the Alps for the last 150 years. Look at this, the Pope is selling his Lamborghini. Look at this, this guy is selling this. You know, it's like all these people are hard up for cash and they're selling shit, and he's making it seem that, well, it seemed that a big slush fund maybe was captured.
Yeah. So
there was another post.
I want to get a grip. Hold on, before you keep going, I want to get a grip on where you are. What is it?
Where I am?
Yeah,
I personally,
you know me. I'm questioning.
You know me. I sort of believe that there are elitists running the world. I do believe that they are not interested in our health, welfare, or safety in the least. And I would like to believe that there is a war going on right now and the good guys are winning. So that's sort of where I'm at with it. But I don't want to delude myself. Is that a word? Dilute my thoughts, or delude? No.
Dilute.
No.
D-I-U-T-E.
No. I don't want to fool myself either. You know, putting too many eggs in this one basket. You know, again, could it also be that this is all a farce? In other words, what it is it's another distraction, another where you have a huge base of people that are getting fed up, and instead of organizing and possibly storming the castle, they're now being coddled. They're now being, pacified. How are they being pacified? By waiting for the next QAnon post. By, again, rooting for the home team. We don't have to fight because there's a war out there right now and we're winning. All we have to do is wait.
Yeah, just keep waiting. Just keep waiting.
And then, I also sort of believe that, all these damn zombie movies and zombie TV shows and end of the world TV shows, this is also a way of there was a huge group of people, there still is, prepping for the end of days. And also some of these are radical people that would like to see, us storm the White House too. And I wonder if, having all these movies, having all these games, having all these TV shows, isn't pacifying that group of people. Now, instead of looking forward to the end of days, they could be living it in their game. They could be living it on their TV. They could be putting themselves in the shoes of, you know, Negan or whoever on The Walking Dead.
Well,
Another
not just that, but
type of psychological distraction.
It's a psychological distraction, but it could almost be It could almost be a psychological manipulation that, hey, you know, we're expecting this to happen, so we're just going to portray people looking for guns and shooting everybody's head off for everything.
And you know,
the first thing people do is
if you want to bring up the conspiracy theory, there was a live action training session with FEMA, where FEMA they had a bunch of people they hired as zombies, and FEMA was given rifles with like I don't know, either laser or blanks or something, and they were training these FEMA guys to shoot the living zombies in a live action training. I mean, what the hell is that about? And you've heard the story about FEMA ordering like 1.5 million rounds of ammo.
Really?
Have you heard about that?
No.
Yeah, it's the biggest order in history, and FEMA ordered it. It's literally, yeah.
Did you hear what happened? Was it yesterday or today when the president and Merkel or whatever her name was talked?
No,
Apparently, May.
May.
They're going to be buying a few $1 billion worth of equipment from us over the next 10 years.
Well, yeah, actually, that wasn't new. In other words, you know, our wonderful floaty fighters, you know, the ones that take off straight up.
Yeah, I love
the
those
ones
things.
the ones we spent billions of dollars on, and they're like hundreds of millions of dollars a piece.
Yep.
The England ordered a whole shitload of them.
Can we sell them all our secondhand ones and get some new shit?
Well, this is the new shit.
Well, the new shit's old shit once it's new.
You know, the crazy thing is, if you think about it, as war weapons, I mean, fighter planes, you know, back in World War II, we made shit to last. I mean, we made like bombers that could get filled with holes and still not get knocked out of the sky. And here we have these highly advanced, highly computer controlled $100 million planes, you know, and each one is worth that.
Expectancy.
Right. I mean, you know, I'm in the IT industry. I know where computers go and what happens with computers, and computers aren't as resilient as you would like to think. And then you look at some of our old stuff, like the B-52 bomber. There's an airframe that is now a half a century old, and we're still using it. We're still rebuilding it. We're still adding updates to it. And the Warthog, the Fairchild Warthog, you know which one that is?
No. But
that's
make an analogy to cars.
That's that straight winged plane with the two huge engines on the tail that has that big, you know, burp gun in the front, the one that shoots thousands of rounds a minute, can literally cut a car in half.
Oh, okay. I think I know which one. Vaguely.
It's called the A-10 Warthog.
I'm thinking of Halo Warthog. I want me one 4-wheel.
Well, you can Google it real quick. I'm sure once you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That thing was also made to literally get filled with friggin' shots and still stay flying.
I choose not to use Google at the current time due to the fact that Google's
Oh, okay.
lying and spinning at me.
You need a maybe you need a second laptop just
I
in
did
these
that for a
situations.
while.
Yeah.
It's not the number of laptops or anything. It's not the number of devices. It's my signal keeps depreciating for short
Oh,
periods, and it's
right.
causing a signal interruption, and I'm getting angry.
Right.
I paid
You
my
know,
bill and threatened them to go to another provider.
they have a, I think I told you this before, they have a power booster for that signal. You plug it into the wall and you plug the cable into the deal, and it just boosts the electrical power to that signal.
Huh. I'll have to look at that. But this QAnon thing. This is the second section. And since it wasn't planned, I can't pull up posts. But you have to wonder. It could be anywhere on this spectrum. And I have that curiousness where some of it, if you break it down and try to think about it logically, just fits and makes natural sense. It would be stuff that would be common knowledge, or that more people would know if it was public knowledge. Also, some of the things that you tell me deal into the realm of breaking the law by releasing secrets that shouldn't be released.
Well, and that's why he does things in questions. He never comes out and says, this is happening here with this person at this time. It's always questions. Why did this person resign? What does this person have to do with this company? When was this company founded and by who?
Yeah, but that kind of goes back to the same feeling that you get from Trump and the retired Justice Kennedy. If you think about it, they get that weird feeling that there's a connection between Justin Kennedy's son and Trump's son, and that Kennedy retiring was a request through Trump to his kids across to manipulate the government and get another justice. So
I don't know.
I try to cross-apply things. How much do I believe that Trump told his kids to tell their buddy's dad to retire? No. I'm sorry, I don't actually believe that. Especially not with what they used as their defense. It was like, hey, I haven't seen your son in a while. How is he? Well, he's good. Well, the kids are treating him great. Well, they tell me they love him, so he must be doing good. They love him down there. That sounded seemingly, what's the word? Not obnoxious. Not obsequious. What's the word I'm looking for? Means nothing. It didn't sound like anything. It just sounded like chit-chat.
Right, a non-issue, a non-story.
But because people are connected, you make such big deals.
Small talk.
It just sometimes, and people inform me of this, tell me when people agree, but people inform me that I don't think like others, and the thoughts that I have may not be natural inclined thoughts that other people will have on certain things. But it just seems to me that if you can assign association to something as good or bad, and conversation, or connected through this person, that person, and the other person, as you're inherently a part of what's going on, then you're always going to see a conspiracy or jump to what you believe to be correct. based on the knowledge that you acquired.
Sirhan is the one who shot Reagan, right?
Before my time.
Okay. The guy who shot Reagan, his brother went to dinner with George Bush the night before.
Okay.
Okay. Talk about a small world, right?
Well, yeah.
The brother of the guy that shot Reagan had dinner with the son of the vice president that would have turned president if Reagan was dead.
Okay. Coincidence, maybe? I know sometimes it gets to be a hard stretch, but there's a reason we have something we call a coincidence. It's sometimes things line up, and they seem like they were set like that.
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
You ever go into a grocery store, grab a few things you think you need, one or two things you want, and all of a sudden it comes to like $20 each.
$100.
You had a $100 bill in your hand.
You went to the grocery store to get half and half, and you're sitting looking at the damn register flashing $101, and you swear you bought a lot of 2-for-1s, and
no, I don't.
And you're walking out with 3 bags of groceries.
Do you ever get those weird coincidences where you just walk in and grab what you're supposed to grab because that's what you needed, and you get to the register and it's like, oh, I have a 20 in my hand. It is 1998.
Yeah.
Cool.
I get even more coincidences ones that tell me that sometimes I have ESP.
Yeah,
I'll meet a stranger at the grocery store and just do a little small talk and then mention something, and they'll look at me strange, go, why did you mention that? Because this is exactly what I was dealing with yesterday, and blah, 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 and, blah, and all of a sudden it opens up a whole other layer of conversation.
Speaking of layers of conversation, I would hate to call this one at the center. I don't think we're anywhere near the center of this topic. It's a weird look at, and it keeps going. Even from over a month ago we talked about it. There's been new ones. I've kind of checked, I think, 2 out since the last time we talked. Vaguely, just kind of breezed through. I think one of them was a video you sent me about a recent post, and another one was one that ended up in my queue because...
There's a guy on YouTube. His name is what's his name now? Lionel. And he
glasses and the gray hair.
Basically a centrist left guy who is all into conspiracies and whatnot, and he talks about Q quite a bit. And I sent you that, and I also sent you the plan to save the world. The plan to save the world. So
it's been a slow Saturday. I apologize for my tiredness, but I'm tired.
Well, you did a lot of digging.
I did. I dug myself down to the bottom of that damn fence. I regret it a little bit. But with that, I think I need to get some rest today. Next weekend, I do apologize, folks. If all goes well, I will not be home next Saturday, and there is no way I'm giving up an all-day pass to chat with people on the internet. Sorry.
I hear that. I'm gonna work hard on trying to be able to stream. So maybe I'll be able to. Maybe I won't. We'll see.
Hit me up anytime this week, and I will try and get you set up. If I need to do a stream, let me know, and I'll run another stream. If people have questions, hit me up. You have comments, leave them in the details. You have something to say or a something hit, Do you have a button to lick? Do you have something to kick? Do it on your way out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining our show. We will see you another time.
Thank you, everybody. See you later.